Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Govichanna Balava Girivardhari Govichanna Balava Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayarata Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Premanandi Jai Nitya Lila Vishnu Vishnu-pad Paramahamsa Pribhajagacharya Stotara Satra Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Savior of the World Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Iskcon BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Nitai Gaur Premanandi Ekadasi Vrata Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So today is Ekadasi. And just in case you didn't notice, that February is absolutely packed with appearance days, disappearance days, of course 2 Ekadasis, and also some very important half-day fasts, appearance of Advaitacharya, appearance of, I think, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. So this is 3 important, very important days. So check your calendars. And hopefully everyone uses the same version of the calendar. So today will be like yesterday. and that will have a lot of reading, and then we'll pick one text with a purport. There's mostly narration. Lord Krishna fights with Banasur. So yesterday we went up to text 6. So I'll read text 7 through 24, all of that. Text 7. Ashitsu tum malam yudam adbhutam romaharshanam Krishna Shankara Yodajan Prajumna Guhayor Api. Translation. A most astonishing, tumultuous, and hair-raising battle then commenced, with Lord Krishna matched against Lord Shankara, in other words, Lord Shiva, and Prajumna against Kartikeya. So we're happy to hear that Aniruddha's father comes and joins the battle. It's kind of nice when your dad comes and, helps you out. Text 8. Kumbanda kupakarnabhyam balena sahasam yugaha Sambasya Banaputrena Banena Sahasat Yakehe. Translation. Lord Balaram fought with Kumbanda and Kupakarna, Samba with Bana's son, and Satyaki with Bana himself, with Banasur. So Satyaki had the honor of being matched against the leader of the Modamaniya group. Text 9. Brahmadaya Suradisha Munaya Siddhacharanaha Gandharva Saraso Yaksha Vimanayir Drashtum Agaman. Translation. Text 9. Brahma and the other ruling demigods, along with Siddhas, Charanas, and great sages, as well as Gandharvas, Apsaras, and Yakshas, all came in their celestial airplanes to watch. Text 10 and 11. Shankarananucharan sharir bhuta pramatagu yakan Dakinir Yatudanamscha Vetalan Sa Vinayakan Preta Matri Pisachamscha Kushmandam Brahmarakshasam Dravayam Asha Tikšnagrai Shadai Sanka Danushchutai. Translation. With sharp-pointed arrows discharged from his bow, Saranga, Lord Krishna drove away the various followers of Lord Shiva, Bhutas, Pramatas, Guyakas, Dakinis, Yatudanas, Vetalas, Vinayakas, Pretas, Matas, Pisachas, Kushmandas, and Brahma Rakshasas. So if we were Shaivites, then this would be a homework assignment, to memorize all the different categories of followers of your leader, of Lord Shiva. Well, Lord Shiva is also our leader as well, as the great devotee of Vishnu or Krishna. Text 12. Pritag vidani prayungta pinakyastrani sarngine pratyastrai shamayam asha saranga panir avishmitaha. Translation. Lord Shiva, wielder of the trident, shot various weapons at Lord Krishna, wielder of the saranga. But Lord Krishna was not in the least perplexed. He neutralized all these weapons with appropriate counter-weapons. 13. Brahmastrasya cha brahmastram vayavyasya cha parvatam agneyasya cha parjanyam naijam pashupatasya cha. Translation: Lord Krishna counteracted a brahmastra with another brahmastra, a wind weapon with a mountain weapon, a fire weapon with a rain weapon, and Lord Shiva's personal Pashupatastra weapon with his own personal weapon, the Narayanastra. There's a little redundancy here. The Astra means weapon, so his personal Pashupatastra weapon, and then weapon with his own personal weapon, the Narayanastra. 14. Moha yitva tu girisham drimbanashtrena drimbitam banasya pitranam shaurir jaganasi gadeshubihi. Translation: After bewildering Lord Shiva by making him yawn with a yawning weapon, Lord Krishna proceeded to strike down Banasura's army with his sword, club, and arrows. We might say that, how is it possible that someone can have a yawning weapon, a weapon that makes people yawn? Well, did you ever hear of, what is it called, the Anopheles mosquito, the one that gives you, what's the name of that disease that makes you fall asleep all the time? That's too fancy. There's a more common term for it. I'm forgetting right now. Anyway, it's well known. I just can't think of the name. I almost remember it. It's called like sleeping disease. You know, it makes you sleep. So if a little mosquito can have a weapon like that, why not Krishna? Because Krishna could have anything. So Lord Krishna proceeded to strike down Banasura's army with his sword, club, and arrows, after making Lord Shiva yawn. Sometimes my Bhagavatam classes are like yawning weapons. You know, I give the class and everybody starts yawning also. So I guess I don't know my own potency. Text 15. Skanda prajumna banao gair Arjamana samantataha ashrig vimunchan gatrebya shikina pakramad ranat. Translation: Lord Kartikeya was distressed by the flood of Prajumna's arrows raining down from all sides, and thus he fled the battlefield on his peacock as blood poured from his limbs. So Kartikeya, remember, is one of the sons of Lord Shiva and Parvati, and this has something in common with the Battle of Kurukshetra, that here you have people that are normally very close and affectionate to one another having to fight with one another, and they do it with alacrity, just the same. Text 16. Kumbanda kupakarnascha pitatur mushalar ditau dudruvastad anikani hatanatani sarvataha. Translation 16. Kumbanda and Kupakarna, tormented by Lord Balaram's club, fell down dead. When the soldiers of these two demons saw that their leaders had been killed, they scattered in all directions. Text 17. Visriyamanam svabalam drishtva jamarshitaha krishnam abyadravat shankye Rati Hitvaiva Satyakim. Translation: Banasura was furious to see his entire military force being torn apart. Leaving his fight with Satyaki, he charged across the battlefield on his chariot and attacked Lord Krishna. So I guess this is an exception. I guess almost every rule has some exceptions. What is the rule? Yude chapa palayana. One does not, like stop fighting. You fight till the finish. The fighting was like an Olympic tournament, but at the same time, it's either I die or you die. It's not. It's a fight to the death. So one can't just like, okay, I'm going to go do something else, or I'm going to run away. That's verboten. But at the same time, if you have a greater enemy and you're leaving one, and there was nothing un-Kshatriya-like about what Banasura did in this case. Not like he left his engagement with Satyaki because he was afraid of Satyaki. Rather, he went to attack Lord Krishna. So he still keeps his Kshatriya credentials. Text 18. Danum shakrishya yugapad bana pancha shatani vai ekai kasmin sharo dvao sandande rana durmadaha. Translation: excited to a frenzy by the fighting, Bana simultaneously pulled taut all the strings of his 500 bows and fixed 2 arrows on each string. Someone's going to say, hey, Krishna, watch out, watch out. This is dangerous, right? Tani chichcheda bhagavan danum shi yugapad dari sharatim ratam ashvamscha hatva shankam apurayat. Translation: Lord Sri Hari split every one of Banasura's bows simultaneously and also struck down his chariot and horses. The Lord then sounded his conch shell. Text 20. Tanmata kotara nama nagna mukta shiro ruha puro vataste krishnasya putra prana rirakshaya. That word looks familiar. Shiro ruha. What is that? How about Krishna? Her hair. Okay. Just then, Banasura's mother, Kotara, desiring to save her son's life, appeared before Lord Krishna naked and with her hair undone. Text 21. Tatastiryan muko nagnam anirikshan gadagrajaha panaschata vadviratash china danva vivshat puram. Lord Gadagraja turned his face away to avoid seeing the naked woman, and Banasura, deprived of his chariot, his bow shattered, took the opportunity to flee into his city. So here Banasura is not acting as a proper kshatriya, although you might excuse him because he's dealing with God at this point. So in one sense, there's no shame. Just like when Lord Shiva is defeated by Mohini Murti, and he doesn't feel ashamed, even though it seemed very embarrassing what happened. You know the story. But he was not ashamed because he knew this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What chance did I have? Even Lord Shiva recognized. Text 22. Vidravite bhutagane chvarastu trishiras tripat abhyad davata dasarham dahan ivadisho dasha. Translation. This is text 22. After Lord Shiva's followers had been driven away, the Shiva Dvara, who had 3 heads and 3 feet, pressed forward to attack Lord Krishna. As the Shiva Dvara approached, he seemed to burn everything in the 10 directions. remember we heard about this very strange entity in the introduction, Shivadvara. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti quotes the following description of the Shivadvara. Dvadastri padastri shira sadbhujo navalochanaha bhashma praharano raudraha kalantaka yamopamaha. Quote, this is a translation of the description given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The terrible Shivajvara had 3 legs, 3 heads, 6 arms, and 9 eyes. Showering ashes, he resembled Yamaraj at the time of universal annihilation. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole class about this, but because we have a substantial purport coming up. But I mentioned that some, there were so many thousands and thousands, millions of popular songs, on the radio and the media, and, over the decades. So when I was a kid, back in the 1950s, there was a song for children, and it was a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. One-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. And that was the chorus of the song. Don't become frightened. It was just a song. And until I just read this just now, I never would think that song was anything else but the most wildest fantasy you could possibly imagine. Now, of course, the description, the detail is different from the Shivadvara, but 3 heads, 3 feet, and some other incredibly wild, fantastic descriptions. So sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. We heard the purport. 3 eyes, 6 arms, 9 eyes, showering ashes. He resembled Yamaraj. That's just as far out as the flying purple people eater in my book. Text 23. Atan Narayana Deva Tam Drishtva Vyasri Jaj Jvaram Maheshvaro Vaishnavascha Yuyudate Jvarav Ubhao. This is text 23. Seeing this personified weapon approach, Lord Narayan then released his own personified fever weapon, the Vishnu Jvara. The Shiva Jvara and Vishnu Jvara thus battled each other. Now this is anomalous, you can say, because in the Krishna book we hear that this is a fever. Now usually when you think about fever, it's like hot, right? So it's like one heat weapon against another heat weapon is described here, but in Krishna book we hear that it's the Shiva Dvara is the heat weapon and the Narayan Dvara is cold. And Prabhupada even says that somehow when it gets very hot you can somehow tolerate, but when it gets like, to absolute zero or something, nobody can tolerate. Right now there's some bad karma going on in the north part of the U.S. and Canada. There's an Arctic vortex. That's the circle of air around the Arctic. Usually stays up there, but sometimes it comes down. Now it's coming extremely south, and the Dakotas and all the northern states, I can imagine even New York, and what to speak of Canada, what to speak of Alaska. They're getting temperatures that if you go outside you can die. I mean, like we're talking about as low with the chill factor as like 50 degrees below zero. And that's serious. That's really serious. So that's the power of cold. And don't ask me about global warming. That's another thing. But so it's anomalous here. I don't ask me to explain. I'll have to ask the editors how this works. Here, the disciples of Prabhupada translating Gopi Pranadana, being very literal, First of all, it's Shiva Dvara. Dvara is fever. That word Dvara is also in Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter, text 30. I don't have time to recite it. Text 24. Maheshvara Samakrandan Vaishnavena Balardita Alabdvabayam Anyatra Bito Maheshvaro Jvaraha Sharanarthi Rishikesham Tushtava Prayatanjali. Translation: the Shiva Jvara, overwhelmed by the strength of the Vishnu Jvara, cried out in pain, but finding no refuge, the frightened Shiva Jvara approached Lord Krishna, the master of the senses, hoping to attain his shelter. Thus, with joined palms, he began to praise the Lord. Very short purport. As pointed out by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, again, back, it is significant that the Shiva Jvara had to leave the side of his master, Lord Shiva, and directly take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Now, I have to admit, there is a potential lecture contained in this very short purport. We'll try to consolidate that with what comes next. This is the text. There's still time. Text 25. Svada uvacha namami tpananta shaktim parisham sarvatmanam kevalam gnapti matram vishvodpati stana samroda hetum yat tad brahma. It's not Brahma, it's Brahma. When the A has a line, it's A, and when it doesn't have a line, it's Very different sound. Lingam prashantam jvara uvacham namami tvananta shaktim parisham sarvatmanam kevalam gnapti matram vishvodpati stana samroda hetum yatad brahma lingam prashantam namami tvananta shaktim parisham sarvatmanam kevalam gnapti matram vishvodpati stana samroda hetum tad brahma lingam prashantam. Very nice alliteration. Someone chant. Svada uvacham namami tvananta shaktim paresham sarvatmanam kevalam gnapti matram vishvodpati stana samroda hetum yatad brahma lingam prashantam Vara uvacha namami tvananta shaktim paresham savatmanam kevalam gnapti matram vishvodpati noda hetum Mataji. Vrata Uvacha. Namami Tvananta Shaktim Paresham. Sarvatmanam Kevalam Tapti Matram. Vishvodpati Sthana Samrodha Hetum. Yatad Brahma Brahma Vinkam Prashantam. Vrata Uvacham. Namami Tvananta Shaktim Paresham. Sarvatmanam Kevalam Knapti Matram. Vishvodpati Sthana Samrodha Hetum. Yatad Brahma Brahma Ligam Prashantam. Vrata Uvacha. The fever weapon of Lord Shiva said, Namami, I bow down, Tva, to you, Ananta, unlimited, Shaktim, whose potencies, Pada, the supreme, Isham, the Lord, Sarva, of all, Atmanam, the soul, and that's with a capital S, Kevalam, pure, Gnapti, of consciousness, Matram, the totality, Vishva, of the universe, Utpatti, of the creation, Sthana, maintenance, Samrodha, and dissolution, Hetum, the cause, Yat, which, Tat, that, Brahma, absolute truth, Brahma, by the Vedas, Lingam, indirect reference to whom, Prashantam, perfectly peaceful. Translation and purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Translation: the Shivajvara said, I bow down to you of unlimited potencies. In other words, that you have unlimited. The Supreme Lord, the super soul of all beings. You possess pure and complete consciousness and are the cause of cosmic creation, maintenance, and dissolution. Perfectly peaceful, you are the absolute truth to whom the Vedas indirectly refer. Please repeat. The Shivajvara said, I bow down to you of unlimited potencies, the Supreme Lord, the super soul of all beings. You possess pure and complete consciousness and are the cause of cosmic creation, maintenance, and dissolution. Perfectly peaceful, you are the absolute truth, to whom the Vedas indirectly refer. Purport: previously the Shivajvara felt himself to be unlimitedly powerful and thus attempted to burn Sri Krishna. But now he himself has been burned, and understanding that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he humbly approaches to bow down and offer praise to the Supreme, to the Absolute Truth. Maybe, who can I call on? Pranata Karuna? After the class, can you remind me? I'll make a note of this. I also have 2 other notes I have to make in my voice recorder. So if you could remind me, so I don't forget. I want to ask Javita Prabhu about this, how to deal with that. According to the Acharyas, the word Sarvatmanam indicates that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supersoul, the giver of consciousness to all living beings. Krishna affirms this in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Matak smriti jnanam apohanam cha, from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. In his commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti emphasizes that the Shiva Jvara has realized in many ways Lord Krishna's supremacy over his own master, Lord Shiva. Thus, the Shiva Jvara addresses Krishna as Ananta Shakti, possessor of unlimited potency, Paresha, the supreme controller, and Sarvatma, the supersoul of all beings, even of Lord Shiva. The words Kevalam Gnapti Matram indicate that Lord Krishna possesses pure omniscience. According to our limited understanding, we act in this world, but Lord Krishna, with his unlimited understanding, performs infinite works of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. As Srila Jiva Goswami points out, even the functions of the gross elements, such as air, depend on him. The Taittiriya Upanishad 2.8.1 confirms this. Bhashmashat vata pavate. Out of fear of him, the wind blows. Thus, Lord Sri Krishna is the ultimate object of worship for all living entities. The Shiva Dvara said, I bow down to you of unlimited potencies, the Supreme Lord, the Supersoul of all beings. You possess pure and complete consciousness and are the cause of the cosmic creation, maintenance, and dissolution. Perfectly peaceful, you are the absolute truth to whom the Vedas indirectly refer. Om Jnana-timiranda Jananjana Shakya Chakshum Militam Vedatasha Shri Gurave Namaha. So it's in the teachings of Lord Kapila Dev. Lord Kapila Dev, I was just hearing class this morning while getting dressed. I was listening to lecture Prabhupada, and he was pointing out, in one sense there's a certain parallel Kapila Dev and Bhagavad Gita, in that in both books are instructions given by Krishna. Krishna in his incarnation as Vishnu Tattva, as Lord Kapila Dev. They're both announcing, of course, the gist, the direction was a little different. Lord Kapila Dev was teaching Sankhya Yoga and devotional service, but at the same time he was also proclaiming his divinity. And in one verse he says, Madhbayat Vartivato Vai Suryastapati Madhbayat Vashatindro Dahat Agnir Mrityush Charity Madhbayat. So what is this? Madhbayat. Out of fear of me, the wind blows. Out of fear of me. The sun shines out of fear of me. The Lord of the clouds, Indra, Vashatindro, sends forth rain, Varsha, out of fear of me. Fire burns out of fear of me. We're hearing about the Shiva Jvara, how it's burning. So even that function of fire, the sun and fire, and it's all going on under the control and ultimate will of the Supreme Lord. And yes, out of fear of him. And even death makes his rounds, collecting all of us out of fear of him. It's quite arresting. The universal nature of Krishna's sovereignty and control. And also in the class I was listening to, Srila Prabhupada, Jai Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki Jai, Hare Krishna, Shri Gaurnitai ki Jai, Shri Giriraj ki Jai, Hare Krishna. He's making that point, and how do we relate to our own bodies? He kind of referred to chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita about Kshetra, Kshetragya, There's the body is the kshetra, the field of activities, and the kshetragya is the knower of the field. But in our bodies, of course, there may be other living entities. They're also in there, but hopefully they're benign. But there's one other kshetragya, special kshetragya, God, super soul, and he's not only the knower of, we're the knower of this field of activities, he's the knower of all the fields of activities. Kshetragyam chapimam vidi sarva kshetreshu Vrata. Kshetragyam chapimam vidi. I am also the knower of the field, but I'm the knower of all the fields of activities. Another thing he mentioned is that in that class is how we're the occupiers, really we should say occupants, like how many occupants are allowed in this room. Usually there's a sign that says maximum, 300, whatever. So we're the occupant of each of these machines, these bodily machines. We're not the owner. We're not the owner. We never, it's my body. It's my body. No, it's not even my body. We're just, in other words, if it was really mine, then no one could take it away. I own it. You can't take it away from me. But we just heard that death goes around collecting all the bodies and destroying them all out of fear of Krishna. So we're not the owners of this body. We're just tenants, and we have a lease. It's called karma. And at the end of the time of that lease, then we're out. So Krishna is omniscient in that he knows what's going on in all bodies, and also he's the supreme enjoyer. It's not that Krishna enjoys these machines exactly, but he's the supreme proprietor of all his energies and all his realms. Even the material world is Dham. It's sacred if we see it with a proper vision. So Prabhupada's comparing, the disciples of Prabhupada are comparing our understanding, which is limited, with Krishna's unlimited understanding. And with that unlimited understanding, he also performs unlimited, infinite works of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. So this is basically, like getting to home base. We hear we shouldn't be resentful and so skeptical that we become cynical or actually offensive, and thinking that these descriptions, that there's such a thing as a three-legged, come on, this got to be mythology. This is just too much, right? No, not right. In other words, it's that sour grapes, story that the fox couldn't get the sweet grapes. There was some thorns, so he said, "Oh, it's all right. The grapes are sour. They're no good anyway." No, the grapes are very sweet. So, because the materialist or empiricist cannot penetrate what's beyond the range of his instruments and faculties, then and then when someone can, due to a different method of knowledge, from hearing from authority, and we can actually have descriptions of such amazing entities like the Shiva Dvara and the Narayan Dvara and all the strange followers of Lord Shiva. We don't try not to obsess on the strange part, but it's strange from our perspective of this one tiny planet. In other words, we're back to the epistemic axiom. We can call it an axiomatic point of the frog in the well. We shouldn't think that someone tells us something that's very far out. The bhaktas, you know about the frog in the well? Have you heard that example? Did you know? Frog in the well? Not so familiar. Dr. Frog, he's in the well, and his cousin tells him, "I just saw something amazing." "What did you see?" "I saw the Pacific Ocean," they call it. It's so much water, cousin, you can't imagine how much water there is in it. It's just like off the scale. I mean, you can't even imagine. And the frog in the well, he lives his whole life in this well. He says, oh, does it contain, say, half as much water as in my entire well? I said, no, you don't get it. I mean, you're not even remotely connecting with what I'm trying to describe to you. Does it contain as much water in my whole well? And you still don't get it. In other words, it's like a different paradigm. How could the frog who saw the Pacific Ocean explain to the one who just lives only in the well? So that happens in modern science. They get to quantum physics and then quantum mechanics and different interpretations, and they have a different. It affects philosophical understanding as well. When one is somehow exposed to realities that normally, until the instruments became so incredible and the mathematical techniques became so sophisticated, that there was no access to how electrons behave within the atom. So the behavior of electrons within the atom has a lot to do with all this quantum theory. And quantum theory just opened up a whole new philosophical understanding of the role of consciousness and the role of our own role and the role of the very measurements in terms of affecting what's objectively in there. And the very term objective, in other words, even the definitions of basic principles become changed when it's seen through the lens of quantum theory. It's an example. So not only in terms of three-dimensional space, that there's such a thing as the Pacific Ocean, and if you're living in a well, you can't even imagine how big it is. It goes even in terms of what reality is and what philosophy should be and everything. In other words, the more we're exposed. But of course, even with quantum physics, like Professor Einstein, there's a big debate whether or not he read Bhagavad Gita or didn't read Bhagavad Gita. The jury is still out on that. There's evidence both ways. But aside from that, he didn't want to be grouped as an atheist. He didn't want to be categorized as an atheist. He was not allergic to the God word or principle of God, but he couldn't imagine a personal God. So you can see that you can become way out of the well, and you can have a much bigger well, like Professor Einstein. His theory of special relativity was epoch-making, and you can say, well, that's, what are they talking about? Well, hello, E equals mc squared, nuclear bombs. There is some, Oppenheimer and the whole group of them. There are even a laser, like my friend Bhakti in Denver and he's in San Antonio. He's going to Mexico to get LASIK, that surgery in your eyes with lasers that give you 20/20 vision. Now the laser, that's Professor Raja Penrose invented the laser, and he, by the way, had an interview with Bhakti Swarup Damodara Maharaj at the Bhaktivedanta Institute. There's a monograph on that. I think he's a Nobel laureate. He's probably not still physically present, I don't think. But he, so there are tangible results. So it's not like totally bogus and these people they're onto something. They're onto something. But still, they just have a bigger well, in a sense. They've expanded, but there's still don't know the glories of the Lord and the magnitude of the glories of the Lord. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Itam vibhutim yogam cham mama yuveti tattvata savikalpena yogina yujate natara samshaya aham savasya prabhavak mataksavam pravartate iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samanvitaham. In these two verses, that's chapter 10, text 7 and 8, Lord Sri Krishna is announcing, just like Kapila Dev to a certain extent announced his own glories, which are none different from the glories of Krishna, his incarnation, personal expansion. He's announcing, and he will go on to describe all the, not all, but about 72 of his particular opulences in this world. They're called vibhutis. And he says that one who knows this mystic opulence, this power, this grandeur of mine, at once surrenders and renders devotional service. Those who know that I'm the origin of all the worlds, material and spiritual, they worship me with all their hearts. They render devotional service. So it's natural. It's a natural impulse to worship something very, very great. Unfortunately, we're worshiping the greatness of lust and the greatness of anger and the greatness of greed. Those forces are very powerful. Trivida narakasye tam varam nashnamatmanaha kama lobastata kama krodastata lobas tasmat itat trayam jajet. Lust, greed, and anger are the three gates leading to hell. One should avoid these like the plague, because they lead to the degradation of the soul, or they are, in a sense, the very degradation. So those correlate to the lower modes of material nature. They're not so present in sattva gun, the mode of goodness. So this that's so great. This power is so great. The power of material desire and greed and anger and hankering and lament, these things. So we are not, most of us are not able to appreciate great things, because we're enthralled by the greatness of the thickness of the bars in the prison house of the material world. In other words, we're appreciating how great the prison is. And it's pretty great. It's a high security prison like no one could even imagine, even with all the highest tech that they have at their disposal, where the very senses are the bars, and especially sexuality is the Maitunya Agra, the shackles of sex life. I mean, what an incredible prison. So, but we have to, become detached from that which is binding us, and we have to be able to become free, at least to the extent where we can progressively worship Krishna and his actual opulence and grandeur and beauty and majesty, and even get to the level where we leave even that behind and we just love Krishna. You might say that's a type of worship also. What's the best way of worship? Love. First surrender has to be there, but love, actually love. To love Krishna, that's such a sublime goal, the highest and perfect goal. It's described in Bhagavad Gita. So there was a big fight, and now it's winding down, or winding up. And Shivadvara, we shouldn't be envious, we shouldn't be, cynical or have a jaded view about this. That this may be beyond the range of our senses to even imagine such beings, but they're out there. There are many verses throughout the Bhagavatam that give these lists of, in this case we got a list of the tamasic creatures that follow Lord Shiva, But there are many times in the Bhagavatam where you're going to run across a long list of all different higher and lower types of embodiments in different parts of the universe. There are so many kinds of demigods. There are upadevas, like half demigods, I think they have 75% of their power. There are so many ghostly creatures, and we're hearing about hobgoblins and like that. There are all kinds of ghosts. There are all kinds of angels. There are all kinds of demigods and ethereal beings and more subtle beings and grosser beings all over the universe. There are even living entities in the sun. There's no such thing as sterilization. There are living entities that their very bodies are made out of fire. Just like fish can live in the water, well, there are living entities that can live in fire. It's not like modern science, the poor fund of knowledge. They say that all life forms, the life forms that they are able to access on this planet, they're all based on carbon-based. And of course there are other elements, but you have to have carbon as an essential ingredient. Maybe nitrogen and what to speak of, some more basic elements. But what about fire? Fire is also an energy or an element, and what if you had a body made out of fire? Not a problem. You can be right in the sun and live very happily. So, and the sun god could even come to the earth and not burn everything up. When he visited the apartment of Kunti, when she was a maiden, Kunti Devi. So previously the Shivajvara felt himself to be unlimitedly powerful, and then attempted to burn Sri Krishna, but now he himself has been burned. And understanding that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he humbly approaches to bow down and offer praise to the Absolute Truth. So if that's what it takes, sometimes it takes, like Prabhupada was giving the example how, everybody's neglecting worship of God, but when there's danger, even the atheist, it'll slip past. Oh my God, oh my God. When the astronauts in the Challenger, was it Sputnik, the Challenger satellite, they were endangered. Actually, they all died. There was some electrical problem and the whole thing burnt up. Talk about fire weapons. And the commentators, they was, okay, let us pray. Oh God, let us all pray now. I don't know, nowadays maybe that would be politically incorrect. You can't do that anymore. It's incredible. So that's the tendency, is when the danger actually comes, we tend to become very religious. But then we forget, and then we become, blasé and complacent, and we become negligent in general. Devotees, it's a type of cultivation. Like Queen Kunti was praying, let catastrophes come again and again, so I can see you again and again. Yes, catastrophes have, oh my God, oh where's God, oh please God, save me. That helps, you might say. But even without catastrophes, that at least tangible ones, actually, padam dadvipadam natesham, we should realize that the material world is danger at every step. It's so dangerous, the situation. We heard in a purport a few verses a few days ago that we leave individually or collectively. So collectively is also there. There was a black humor song in the 50s or early 60s by Tom Lehrer saying, we'll all go together when we go. It was about nuclear holocaust. Hare Krishna. So any question or comment? It's just about time, but if someone wants to ask a question or make a comment. Maybe I'd get more questions if I were more disciplined and ended the class 10 minutes before time. I'll try to do that. So then you'll be less inhibited in asking questions. Jai Shishi Radhanila Madhava Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ekadasi Vrata ki jai, Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Three notes I have to make. Mexican devotees that relate much better to Spanish. Maybe it's possible during my stay we can have some Spanish class for all the world.
I haven't heard much at all in that regard.
Maybe I'll ask Mexican.
But maybe, I don't know if you're interested, but we'd be enthusiastic to learn at least a few Spanish mantras for book distribution.